Okay, so the first one. Can you hear me now, cuz? Okay, perfect. All right, so I was just giving some updates about what I'm doing. We looking to store like all this historic information. So this is a video I'm uploading today. You know, just doing ground research in Shalom and walking along the Shalom Creek. You know what I mean? My home city. So Slade the Oddmore is that account. Slade D, like how my mama was, you know what I'm saying? She called herself Deemor. So that's ARDMOR. You feel me? And so we was just talking about how Bathsheba is in the Trefo, which is, you know, I don't like calling it Winston-Salem because Winston it's a vibrational frequency. And so like before the 1750s, or really you can go back to the 1800s, you know what I mean, this area wasn't called Winston-Salem. It was just called Shalom or Salem, which Salem is Shalom, you know. But I want to go through this book, you know. So Slade the Oddmore, you know, when we go more on that in that video that I'm upload, it'll be on there tonight. But Slade the Oddmore, it got like the garden, me being on like clocking on the clock of the moon, you know, how we planted and germinated our crops this year on the moon cycle, on lunar cycle. We moved on lunar's clock, and she did the rest. Now we able to eat the fruits of the land, the watermelon. Let me see if I can show you the pictures of the watermelon. The watermelon is starting to yield right at Cancer season. Let me see here. Yeah. That's the watermelon. They growing already. And when I tell you it was hard work, like, I'm trying not to cry. Like, on April 23rd, and we just uploaded that video on Slade the Oddmore, by the way. It's up there on Slade the Oddmore. When I dug this out, all that was grass in that box. And that's a big old box of watermelon. Because then watermelon grow big. So it's going to be an abundance of watermelon. You feel me? So you track the journey. Like, you know, when we plan it, everything is clocked on a cosmic clock. You feel me? So Slade the Oddmore, you know what I mean? Go check that out. And cuz I'm talking to the, you know, they go watch my videos after I post it. You feel me? It's gonna, like, you're the only one repping, you know, you always the only one repping on the lives, but after the live go up, it's gonna be like 100, 300 people that's gonna you know. So this is you know, I was talking about today how my next literature pieces is gonna be on the Carolinas. So I'm motivated by this path towards freedom. You feel me? So this book right here is, I found this in 2019 in my mother's attic. You feel me? I found that in my mother's attic. So like once I like picked it up, like I'm going through this joint, like I'm like, yo, what? Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like everything in here was like really, like, see, it got my name in it. You know, so I don't even know where to start. What I was saying was like, you know, what they do, like the authors, and I'm gonna go to the page with all of the authors. I want to like actually say their names so that we can know, because it's not like, you feel what I'm saying? It's not like it's on the front cover. It's a collect. It's only a few, you feel me, from actual North Carolina. And it talks about the writers, the editors. So let me see. I'm trying to clean this camera off a little bit. we can get it. Darron, what's good, my brother? Peace, my brother. Okay, so here are the authors of this book right here. You got Lee Barton, Tony Brewington, Arthur Calloway, who was a rector at St. Ambrose. A lot of these people, and these are our people, American Indians, Aboriginal Indians, you know what I'm saying, and Negro scholars from Carolina. Look, from our turf, it says that Arthur Calloway was a rector at St. Ambrose Episcopal Church in Raleigh. Wilfmouth Carter, vice president for academic affairs at Shaw. Harold Dees, assistant director, North Carolina Commission of Indian Affairs. Do you know that if you are an Aboriginal American or Indian, that you can get a salary like I'm looking more into it now, but it goes through the Department of Indian Affairs. You can get paid like $5,000 a month. So I'm looking into that, you know what I'm saying? It says John F. Fleming and the Occaneechi tribe told me that directly, that they have members in their tribe that's getting paid $5,000 a month just for being the original tribes of Carolina. And this is what this book talks about. Harold Dees, John Fleming, these are all the authors, the writers, the scribes. Douglas Gills, professor of history, St. Augustine, professor of humanities. Fleming, you talking about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Humanity, that's only one race, and that's the what? Human race. Gossie Harold Hudson, chairman of the Department of Social Science, History at Lincoln University. Why? Shout out to Dr. Allen, Brenda Allen, Winona Jacobs, and our cousin Io. She graduated from Lincoln. Program planner for North Carolina Commission on Indian. There you go. This is 1976. This was published. Barbara Locklear. This is my mother's book, so this is you feel what I'm saying? The pages is beiged out. That's how you want them, because books is assets. You're supposed to pass them down to your kids, and then your kids' kids, and their kids. So this information is not lost. Waltz Maynard, George Reed, Arnold Richardson, you know what I mean? Y'all can read with their background. Eastern Native Americans. Richard Robbins, assistant professors of economics at A&T. And then here are the artists. Now, James Huff and Ernestine, I think I'm going to show you their artwork. They, I think they died in Winston-Salem. If I'm not mistaken, and they're, I think I read their obituary. They died in Winston a few years ago. James Huff did, I believe, 2016. And it says he's been painting since the age of 3. That's how old my son is. Wow. Wow. It says Jane and Ernestine were married in 1972, and they have worked as a husband and wife team. Their expeditions include the following. So I'm not about to go through all of this, you know what I mean? But I want to pay homage to the writers, and then like how they broke everything down, you know, so like the history of Native Americans and blacks in North Carolina. Now, you got to understand that you can be from another place and be a native, you feel what I'm saying, of America. Like your family could be from Poland and you come over here and you're born here, now you're a native. So what they're talking about is the Aboriginals who are from America and the blacks who came from Africa. Oh man, you know I got cross references like I'm AI. I cross my reference like I'm AI. You know what I'm saying? So what they're talking about, so Africa American We just talking about Americans and Africans from the diaspora. You know, so that's what this, like, all of this is talking about. That's what the history of all of this is talking about. You know what I mean? Because we've been coming here, you know, Aboriginals from all over. Even the original Europeans were Moros or Negritos. You know what I mean? This book here, I believe, talks about how Portugal, the first republic in Portugal, was started by Negritos. If it's not in Africa's Gift to America, it may be in here. Now, this is a very important book, too, because, number one, it talks about how we were mixing, like, the different mixtures, you know, the different stocks of humans. You have the lighter stock, you have the original American stock, and let me see if I could turn to the page, if I could find it. Let me see. So it just talks about the arrival of the European and the mulatto, the Negro, the mulatto, and the American. That's what this is talking about. What this say? It's J. Rogers' second Sex and Race, Volume 2. And y'all know, y'all seen when I first got this, because I did a live on it. Rich Brazilian mulatto women. So shout out to Lotto, Big Lotto. You know what I mean? Shout out to Tia Corinne. Shout out to Ninth Wonder. You know what I mean? Shout out to H. Jizzle. You know, Josh Howard, man. CP3. You know what I mean? We just talking Trefo Warriors. Yeah. We just talking about the Trefo Mavericks. See, I can't show y'all some of this because, you know, last time I showed the women in here, because, you know, we didn't wear clothes. You feel what I'm saying? But now you can't not be unclothed on social media. But in real life, you know the real. Women was walking around. You know what I'm saying? That's just reality. Okay, here we go. This is what I wanted to pull up. This is page 6, Sex and Race, Volume 2. I lost my Volume 1. If anybody's seen it, let me know, please, because I lost Volume 1. But I got 1, 2, and 3 for this. The pattern of race mixing for Latin American colonies. Know that Latin American also includes the Carolinas too. You understand? It says from Colorado. You feel me? Colorado. Long live my cousin Dennis, man. I mean, but really he like my uncle. Just because that's my grandfather Jack's son, man. Who transitioned on 777 in Colorado. But he was from here. Ardmore. See page 322. Homage to my mother. 1922. Homage to my mother. She was born on 322. And Dennis, man. You see the 7 frequency? You see the number 7 in 322? So that's also in 2023. So Dennis transitioned on 777. Okay? So I want to give what I'm getting ready to read. I'm reading this in honor of Dennis Jordan, man, the son of Jack. You know what I mean? Love you, cuz. Even though you like my uncle, you still cuz. You feel what I'm saying? The pattern of race mixing for all Latin American colonies from Colorado to Argentina was first the mixing of white men and some who had a Negro strain with Indian women. The offsprings of these were called mezzitos, or mixtures. So we're just talking Mexico and Brazil. Now, if you heard these terms before, let me know. Put it in the comment. If you've been called this before, if this represents you. In Brazil, Mam Bliclos. Incoming of the Europeans, next generation took the Mezquite girls as wives or concubines, producing an offspring that would be 1/4 Indian, and so on as the years passed until sometimes the Indian strain was visible. What up, G Money? Was visible only to the experienced eye. Shout out to Project Right Track. Another mixed type that arose was also when the male Negro slaves arrived in 1502. Okay? Taking Indian mates, the Negroes produced the Zambo. In Brazil, the Confuso. And it says that, and black type with high, upstanding, frizzly hair. A third mixture came with the arrival of the Negro woman, who mixing with the white man produced the mulatto. Okay? A blend with the Spaniard had been long familiar with. The three mixed types, the Mezquito, the Zambo, and the mulatto, began mixing among themselves, and these mixtures and their offsprings with the whites until there came to be a distinguished 55 varieties from the original mating of the Caucasian, Indian, and Negro. Okay? So let's go back here with it. So this is what this is talking about. You see what I'm saying? It goes right back into it. Concerning the social and economic progress of blacks in North Carolina following the Civil War. And notes John Fleming that the blacks acquire education and property at a more rapid rate than whites. You feel what I'm saying? So when they're talking about blacks, you literally heard where that source from. The Negroes that came here from not just Africa, but also Spain and England too. Here's another book reference. This is another book reference. And also you got to understand that, look at this. It says that this painting y'all see here, it says a 15th century conception of Africa with white people held as slaves. You feel me? And it says right here, the Emperor of Morocco, whose mother was an unmixed Negro slave, had tens of thousands. Whose mother was an unmixed Negro slave had tens of thousands of white slaves. A painting of 1670. Now, I could take y'all to Winston-Salem State and we can get writings from the Carolinas from 1670. They literally have higher court records from North Carolina going back to 1670. Alright, so this is how these, so we said the name George Reed, that's who wrote this piece. Then you go into the Native Americans. What they're talking about is the indigenous Americans. You know what I'm saying? The indigenous Carolinians who have been here since time immemorial. This is one of my favorite lines from Dr. King. It says, the American Indian had been called the misunderstood American, a puzzle to other races of mankind. He is also the most sinned against American. Do that make sense? He is the most sinned against American because they came over here with Christianity and Christian doctrines. Again, I could take you right back to Winston-Salem State University, O'Kelly Library, on the 3rd floor, and they got the charters of the Carolinas. You feel what I'm saying? And so it says of him, the late Dr. Martin Luther King wrote, we are perhaps the only nation which tried as a matter of national policy to wipe out its indigenous population. That's what Martin Luther King said. Moreover,